COVID-19,
COVID infection,
COVID,
coronavirus pandemic, the pandemic.
घरों से बाहर निकलने पर पूरी तरह पाबंदी लगाई जाए।
Hi, I'm Shubham Tyagi, software engineer based in India. It's been 2 years since many of us Googled the words coronavirus, pandemic, Dalgona coffee for the first time in our lives. Stating that these last 2 years have been a roller coaster would be the understatement of the year. Okay, I know it's too early in the year to start using the phrase of the year, so let's zoom out a little and take a look at a few things that I have learned over these last 2 years, and hopefully you can relate to a few. Number 1 is Parkinson's law. It states that the work will expand to fill the time allotted for its completion. So if I give myself 3 hours to complete a task, it will take me 3 hours. But if I give myself only 45 minutes to get it done, I will get it done in 45 minutes. A little context behind my story here. So until March 2020, before the pandemic hit, I was working and living alone in Bangalore. And just before the lockdowns began, I moved in with my family in Mumbai. So we had domestic help both in Bangalore as well as in Mumbai. So neither was I responsible for any of the domestic tasks like cleaning, cooking, etc. Nor was I actively pursuing any of my passions or hobbies. So when I was living alone, I would give myself excuses that I could not work out or pursue a hobby because maybe I was working late in the office or I was socializing with friends. The list of excuses was endless. Cut to the lockdown phase. I had moved back in with my family. Domestic help was not allowed in the apartments and shed had hit the ceiling. And I was amazed to notice the amount of work I was getting done on daily basis. I was cleaning the house, getting the groceries, doing the utensils, picked up a few new hobbies, all while putting in the very best foot forward at my work. I was mind blown to see Parkinson's law in action. This really helped me break the mental barrier of I don't have the time. And ever since, slowly but steadily, I have been more cautious of how much time do I allocate myself for all the tasks, personal or professional. That brings me to my next point, that is ultimate multitasking. The pandemic has brought a huge overlap between our personal and professional lives. The boundaries between the both have blurred, and this has advanced the level of multitasking we perform on day-to-day basis. Some of us complete our meals or our entire workout sessions or help kids with their homeworks or our domestic houseworks, all while being muted in our meetings. The general notion is that those who are great at multitasking usually create garbage work. Because the mind is scattered, the result is sloppy. Although this is not entirely false, this is not entirely true either. Over the time, I have realized the key to efficient multitasking is to differentiate between the tasks that require your pure undivided attention and focus and those that can be completed with partial focus. Also, this list is not universal. For example, my sister, who is an ER consultant as well as a brilliant cook, can whip up delicious chole masala even while answering multiple work calls. But if I follow the same recipe with 100% undivided attention, my output would still not be half as good as hers. It is because she has mastered the skill of executing this recipe so many times that it has almost become muscle memory for her. Meanwhile, over the last 2 years, the only recipe that has become muscle memory for me is 2 minutes mug cakes. So I believe some degree of multitasking is beneficial, but only when we approach it with cautious pairing of appropriate tasks. So if you have a creative multitasking combination that you have mastered over these last few years of pandemic, let me know in the comments below. Next point is the compound effect. The compound effect is the strategy of reaping huge benefits from seemingly small but consistent action over a long period of time. As Darren Hardy in his book has said, that the compound effect is the operating system that is running your life, whether you know it or not. In the book, he quotes the equation, small changes plus consistency plus time equals to significant results. Over the pandemic, we have been locked down from the outside world and we are stuck permanently with our family, friends, roommates, and more scarily, ourselves. Hence, irrespective of whether we believe, acknowledge, or realize or not, but the results of our habits have compounded over these last 2 years. You might argue that this is actually true for all scenarios, pandemic, lockdown, or otherwise. And that is actually true. Over the last 2 years, compound effect hasn't worked over time, unlike the remaining all of us. Then why is it that it has become more evident and pronounced over the last 2 years? I believe it is because the lockdowns have helped us remove the noise of so many external factors, which has helped us with the consistency part of the equation. For example, did you lose control of your lockdown snacking habit and lose track of your workouts over the pandemic? Congrats, you have materialized the compound effect in your tummy. Or did you start working out regularly from home and kept a track of your diet over the pandemic? Congrats, you have materialized compound effect in your muscle gains. It was amazing to witness what the alchemy of boredom and lack of options can bring out of us. Within the first few weeks of the pandemic, social media was flooded with the pictures and recipes of banana cakes and dalgona coffee. Many of us experimented with quite a few hobbies. I personally went deep into the 3 C's: cooking, crochet, and coloring. I did dabble around making my own website as well, but I don't consider that as an hobby because coding is my day job. As my family loves ordering takeouts from the famous eateries, during the lockdown, I stepped in to compensate for these missing deliveries with my experimental cooking. I tried a few basic recipes like avocado toast, waffles, mug cakes, and pani puri to a few complex ones like modak, momos, and paisa. About crochet and coloring. The driving force behind both of these hobbies have been the same. Both of them help me transcend into the semi-meditative state, and in both the cases, the output is very quick and easy. Hence, both of them feel very rewarding. I have been the strongest advocate of hobbies. The only regret I have is that I personally never stuck to a single hobby to get significantly better at it. But I still keep experimenting with a few hobbies every now and then because at the end of the day, they help me create a tiny escape from the harsh realities of life. This brings me to my last point, that is, life is short. The points I have discussed so far are from a very privileged position. The pandemic has been fierce on the frontline workers and many sections of the society.
1,000 doctors have died because of COVID so far. The actual numbers may be in fact much more.
Over the several waves of the pandemic, many of us have either lost a loved one or came very close to losing a loved one, or at the very least know someone else who did. I have observed that such profound losses can make you question your beliefs, perspectives, actions, and principles, and give you a not so gentle reminder that life is short and we do not have forever. I have been considering starting this YouTube channel for over 3 years now, but I have been struggling with the starting trouble. Making time for the creative process, the fear of judgment from the friends and families, the fear of burial of my content by the algorithm, the fear of unknown. The list of excuses is endless. But over time, I have realized that life is too short to be scared of failure, judgment, or the unknown, and that I cannot let the fear of unknown paralyze me from starting on the journey that I want to pursue. Hence, whatever dreams and pursuits you are pushing forward for tomorrow, next week, or next month, I urge you to get your foot into the door. All of us have 1,440 minutes every day. Now it is up to us to decide how we spend them. Now, you are not going to master that new skill or complete that new project in one go, but you can spend 20 minutes today to sit down and figure out a plan of how you possibly can. So if you take anything from this video, I urge you to take this. From 1,440 minutes today, spend 20 minutes to sit down and figure out a plan for yourself of how you can start on your new journey. Not how you can complete it, but how can you start. This YouTube channel is my first step on my new journey, and I urge you to start a step in yours, because even when the days are long, life is still short.